Alrighty. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that little taste of Mario Wonder music. Alrighty. I still sound like shit. Even after last week, I thought this little cough of mine would go away. But turns out, it's not. Though I'm starting to feel better. Alrighty, I will put it on a different slide. It's got like 2 more minutes. I just want to see who's here. Oh, hi, Mr. Speedwagon. How's it going? Hi, Mr. Pliskin. 07 to you, too. Alrighty. Shall we get on with it? Let's see, I got the Word document open. Oh, volume a tad bit low, huh? Is it on my mic? Okay, that's kind of weird. Let me see. OBS will let me do this. Okay. Here. Try to change it. Hold on. Let me take a listen to my. I have the stream opened on my phone, so I could take a look at how I sound too. I have the stream opened on my phone, so I could take a look at how I sound too. Apologies for the double playing. It's fine on my end. The volume. I did increase the volume of it just a little bit, cause yeah. If all else fails, I don't know. Maybe refresh the window or something, or the browser. No worries. Okay. Could also be my voice too. I know my I know it's been a little funky for the recording of my next video. But if it's too loud, let's see. Yeah, because I have the settings, I have the little knobs all taken care of here. Yeah. If need be, I could always just turn it down if it gets too loud. But, alrighty. Let's get to the itinerary, shall we? So, tonight on the ScurvyRum show, the main headline is why gatekeeping is a good thing. Our first video of the night, big Yu-Gi-Oh! Community drama by Team APS. Our second video, why I stopped loving multiplayer games by Literally Law. Our third video, gatekeep your hobbies, or the poison will spread and destroy by the Dragon's Treasure, Manic sponsor. And for our regular cancellation, normies. It's about time, too. And of course, chat and Cashapp stuff will be read between each segment. So, let's get to our main headline here. Let's see, right here. There we go. And I rarely do this now, but considering I'm not gonna be here on Saturday. Yeah, there we go. Gotta open up that rum bottle. I'm only gonna be having this for 2 nights. So, this might seem like the perfect segment to actually do a screen recording of. But my new video also talks about this a little bit. And for the sake of not having redundant videos, I'm not gonna do a screen recording. Enough gabbing. Let's get more gabbing. So, you see this image right here from Breaking Bad. Walter White saying, "Stay out of my territory." That's kind of how I feel about when you have just a bunch of these fucking slack-jawed idiots just say, like, "Oh, this should be changed, this should be changed, this should be changed." The most notable example that I could think of on the top of my head would definitely be Dark Souls. Like, the amount of times I hear people say, "Oh, Dark Souls should have an easy mode." Oh, I'd be rich if I had a nickel every time I heard that. I'd be rich. Also, let me send this. But basically, things have an appeal, right? We'll use Dark Souls here. Dark Souls, for those who don't know, it's a series of video games, dark, the dark fantasy genre, and it has a reputation for being notoriously difficult. That was the intention, but behind the creation of those games. Adding an easy mode or a tourist mode would ruin the appeal of Dark Souls for many people. For the experience that it might add to someone else, I think the destruction of that appeal is far worse than the enjoyment of some pleb who wouldn't have even played the game if it wasn't added. I don't mind easy modes being in games as long as they're actually added in, like, at launch. But also, if the game is like a Dark Souls game, there should not be an easy mode. That's also part of its appeal too. Dark Souls, there's a whole "get good" phrase for a reason. It's a hard game. You need to know a lot about movement, attack patterns, and a whole bunch of other stuff. To me, I'm not personally interested in Dark Souls, so I'm not going to go to Dark Souls forums or the Dark Souls subreddit and just say, there should be an easy mode, guys. Though, I think if I were to post that on the Reddit, I think they might agree with me because, well, it's Reddit. But you go to somewhere like twitter.com and you say, Dark Souls should have an easy mode. Now, you'll get fucking laughed at. Like, they'll say either the following, like, in response: get good, or, yeah, this game ain't for you. Go play something else. Do you have another example of this on a more personal level? Because I don't play Dark Souls. Oh, I know. Funnily enough, it actually has something to do with Super Mario Bros. Wonder. That's like that came out last week. I've been enjoying the hell out of it. But turns out there's some people who think that game should have an easy mode. Or an even easier mode. Because turns out the game already has an easy mode. In the form of playing as either the 4 Yoshis or Nabbit. Basically, those 5 characters, they can't take damage at the cost of not being able to use power-ups. Also, Yoshi is able to do a flutter jump, and is also able to, stick his tongue out, swallow things, and spit them back out. Yoshi is a walking power-up, but he can't do everything. Now, what some people are suggesting is that, oh, the other 7 characters who could use power-ups should also be able to not take any damage through a setting. And I say to that, no. No, they should not. It's not because of, oh, my accessibility, my disabled players. Scurvy's autistic. I'm having no troubles with the game. Most likely because I played a lot of 2D Mario in my lifetime. I played all the new Super Mario Brothers games. So there's that. But anybody who just puts a little bit of time into learning the game's controls and not just like running around aimlessly, they'll be able to get pretty decent at it. And also, Yoshi is a nice co-op character to play as, you know. That's probably the character that veterans are probably going to be picking up to kind of show the newbie, like, how to play the game, basically. Minus the flutter jump. But on the other side, Team Sanity here, a lot of us are actually suggesting that if there is a slider, it should actually be for the easy mode characters. If you want, like, at the price of their invincibility, they should be able to use power-ups. I think this would be fine, considering this is only for the easy mode characters, just to kind of, I think also people wanted to see Elephant Form Yoshi and Elephant Form Nabbit. I know, I think that would be fucking hysterical. Elephant Yoshi, and Elephant Yoshi could still, have players ride on his back too. That'd be funny as well. Rumor has it there might be DLC for Mario Wonder, so there's that possibility that they actually could add that in like a separate DLC thing. But no, the other characters, that slider should not exist. It really should only be for the easy mode characters, so veterans can actually, play with those characters, and not have to worry about, like, oh, I'm missing out on some secrets by playing as Yoshi or Nabbit, because one of the levels early on, you need the elephant power-up to break through the bricks in that 4-star level to find the secret exit. And you need all the Wonder Seeds to get 100% completion. But getting back to my point here, I am going to gatekeep the hell out of those who want to make Mario Wonder, an already kind of easy game, has some challenging moments in there, even easier. It's like, clearly, you don't really have much of an interest in video games if you're actually saying shit like, every character should be able to have invulnerability to damage. It's for the new players. And I'm over here just like, what? It makes no fucking sense. It just doesn't. And so I'm going to gladly gatekeep the hell from, weak players, as you put it, Mr. Speedwagon, to just bitching about one of my favorite games of the year. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to tell them either get good or play something else. There's a shitload of video games out there. I'm sure you'll be able to find something. Alrighty, that little tangent of mine done. I'm going to take another shot. Apologies for this one being a bit more rambly. Just wanted to get that one off my chest. Alrighty, so let's go to the first video and see what, see how this can apply to a card game. If you don't know, Scurvy is a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I play Klee, which is like a deck from 2015. It's the deck that made me quit the game when I was 15, and brought me back when I was, when I was 21. But before I turned 22. It's like back in 2022. Anyways, so I just have a few more establishing points to communicate before we get started. So Team APS, so they're like a group of like 6 guys that hang out, play Yu-Gi-Oh together. They make some good videos, some good discussions here and there. They like to do a lot of like deck building challenges and all that. So if you're into Yu-Gi-Oh, check them out. They're easily, I think, they're easily the biggest Yu-Gi tubers in the community. So let's get started.
Okay, duelists, so we're going to be taking a bit of a trek off the beaten path today to talk about some Yu-Gi-Oh! Twitter drama and some general Yu-Gi-Oh! Community issues that sort of follow it. So for those of you guys who have no clue what I'm talking about, our story begins on Twitter, or X, with Papa Mutt, VTuber Dog Dad. That's his Twitter bio. He decided to play Yu-Gi-Oh! For the first time in many, many years, did not have a great experience, and tweeted about it.
I think he's gonna read the tweet here too.
He says, tried playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For the first time in years. Good lord, this game is awful. I just watched some dork turn 1 combo his deck for no joke, 37 minutes. I played a game of TFT ranked before they were done with their first turn. Y'all, you know Solitaire already exists, right?
Ah ha ha ha. My modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Solitaire. Good God, I can't stand when people talk in cliches. Like, already, if you're calling modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Solitaire, and you're not in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community, like, no. I'm going to tell you, this ain't the game for you. You don't understand the appeal of modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And why people play this game. Look, I know I don't run any hand traps in my Klee deck, because I run another card that actually benefits off of not running hand traps. But seriously, if you look into the game first. Look into it before you just start talking shit about it. And I think this Papa Mutt guy got rightfully shit talked on X. Why did I call it X? Whatever.
So a lot to unpack there. He, says that the game took forever, he calls it solitaire. It's maybe not the nicest, most positive tweet. Well, anyways, some people start responding, understandably. You can see lots of engagement here. The most popular response was from Atrocity. They say, stop fear-mongering the game for clout. It dissuades people that actually want to give it a shot from trying because they don't know you're over-exaggerating.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. People like that VTuber guy, basically, are just like, they're fear-mongering it. It's the same thing that the Act Man did a while back, and he's actually he's kind of in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. He doesn't make videos about the game. And by the way, I don't really like the Act Man. I think he's kind of a grifter. And also just one of those safe, edgy people I just find insufferable. But he also did something similar with what happened to Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like, the game was always still here. It never died, no matter how much doom-mongering was going on. It never died. But basically, he was just like, I remember what I was going to say. The Act Man basically was like, my pendulum's too complicated. Bitch, I play pendulums. They're pretty simple. They're a pretty simple mechanic to understand. It just takes a little bit of reading, and if you have some comprehension skills, you'll be able to get how they work. Granted, there's still some funny interactions that I don't even understand, and once again, I play pendulums. And he was also like, my link monsters, my no defense points, my arrows, my game board. Literally, he was just sounding like every other fucking Yugi boomer there is.
and this got a lot of likes as well as some other opinions about it. That might be a bit of foreshadowing for later.
Yeah, that's Twitter in a nutshell. There's a reason why I'm not on it. It just creates such bad discourse, and it's all about just trying to get your gotcha moments so you could get that sweet, sweet dopamine rush.
But yeah, so let's break this tweet down really quickly. First of all, a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel game can't actually, or a turn can't actually take 37 minutes.
Yep. If you've seen Master Duel, I believe the timer is 500 seconds. So it's not 37 minutes. Once again, this is just hyperbole from a guy who doesn't actually understand how the game works. And even the helpful suggestions this guy was getting, he kind of shot them down. I was like, oh, why would I want to run something that's not consistent?
There's a
Something
turn timer,
like that.
so the most
It's
of the
been a
game
bit since
to
I've
go
seen
in
this.
real time would be like 5 or maybe 10 minutes in the more extreme end. So this is hyperbole. He's exaggerating, probably, you know, in the way that most people on Twitter exaggerate things to get likes and clicks and all that. And he kind of makes this dunk about solitaire and all of that. People start responding. There's a lot of different responses people have. Some people are just saying like, you know, come on, man, that's not true. You're
Come on, man, this is literally just untrue. If this was on Master Duel, the game has a chess-like timer that gives you 5 minutes to play your game. So even accounting for pauses to let animations play, there's no way one turn took more than 10 minutes, let alone 37.
misrepresenting the situation. You know, some people say, oh, my friend talked me into trying it today. Now I'm not so sure.
And that's the thing. Like, shit like that, from Tiffany. I'm not sure if that is an actual chick. Because Yu-Gi-Oh! Is starting to have the trannies infiltrate on everything now. That's the thing. I can never escape from them. They're always everywhere. But thankfully, they are few in number. Hopefully, there's not going to be many more. But, anyways, I'm just going to assume that this person is a chick. Oh, my friend talked me into learning it today. Now I'm not sure. And that's the thing. Influence people because they have a negative impression of it from this one guy. It's like, oh, now because this one guy said it, I'm not even going to verify with my friend about learning the game. Oh, man, now I'm just like, oh, man, everybody's going to be an asshole to me, aren't they? Let's see, I'll read this comment from Mr. Speedwagon. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh!, but I got bullied out of existence for playing it. Damn. Yeah, I cannot play. I think I kind of quit for the first time at around the right time when I think I was like a freshman in high school. I never told anyone that I played it. Because people, the whole joke of the my children's card game and all that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and then even in college, like, yeah, you couldn't really talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, I don't know, people were still kind of in their high school mindset for freshman year. But, funnily enough, that was actually kind of the first seed of just like, huh, the game has changed. Ever since Link Monsters were introduced. It was from, I think it was like a documentary about the franchise from Negative Legend. Good videos. But yeah, by the time I was a senior in college, like the last 5 months of college basically, that's when I got back into it and really started talking about it. I was like unabashed. I was unabashed about it too. Like I just did not give a shit about what people thought about my hobbies at the time. And to this day that's still true. As a matter of fact, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is quite good at risen up the ladies. Alrighty, let's continue.
Situation. Some people
I'm just
say,
gonna let
oh,
this
my
play
friend
out
taught me
for a
into trying
bit.
it today. Now I'm not so sure. Some people say Yu-Gi-Oh! Is unironically the worst TCG. They ruined it the moment they added Xyz and Synchros.
God damn it. I just said I wouldn't pause it again, but immediately another boomer take that synchros, xz's ruined the game. Oh my god. That just tells me that I don't even know. I just think takes like that are just fucking stupid.
And just kind of a whole slew of other things that people have to say, right? These are funny, they're not true, or, you know, like...
These are always so funny and never remotely true or nuanced, especially when you see in tournaments that there is a hard time limit and Master Duel has a ladder precisely so you could exit any duel.
This is how modern Yu-Gi-Oh goes, and it's just, hey, he's being a hypocrite, whatever, right? So we go on, and he says that since people are acting goofy in his DMs and replies, he uploads this video sped up. Turn this volume down a little bit. Yeah, it's 500% sped up video of his experience.
Thank you.
Looks like he's playing against Gishki FTK. This is a deck I've actually played against.
Though, honestly, I know this song from the Japanese OST from Duel Monsters. Well, what is it? I don't think it's Passionate Duelist. No, it's not Passionate Duelist. I forget the name of it. My bad.
Against in Master Duel myself, maybe like twice. It's not maybe the most pleasant thing because the turn does go pretty long.
Gishki FTK.
It's not a very common deck to play against, but I guess you could face other similar combo decks.
That's not played in the TCG.
He says, "My bad if I don't find this fun, but based on these replies, not sure if I want to play at all." And he adds his fun little solitaire gameplay in the corner to, I guess,
haha, funny
his point.
XD.
Says his turn one was just setting a card, their turn one was doing all this crazy stuff. And again, you know, people kind of have different takes on it. Some people are saying, well, you know, you're lying. MBT says that might have been the dual logs. That'd be funny if it actually was. And the quote
if you don't know who Dual Logs is, he basically makes like a bunch of like top 10 lists on Yu-Gi-Oh. They're pretty good. Pretty informative. If you actually his videos kind of got me back into it a little bit. Yeah,
tweets are pretty harsh, as a person points out here, and that is true. The quote retweets, which I won't show because there are some that aren't like really very cool, but you can scroll.
Probably low tier god stuff.
Are not very nice. You know, people are kind of dunking on him. Some people are saying like, you know, get good scrubs, learn how to play hand traps. Other people are telling him maybe like something different, like KYS or whatever. I don't know.
Oh boy.
So,
yeah,
this
that's
is where the
X
story
for
takes
you.
a bit of a turn because people check the receipts and find out from his stream VOD.
Dude, he was literally playing Deep Draw Exodia FDK, a deck notorious for 20 plus minutes of zero interaction. He cropped his hand and covered up his set Royal Magical Library to try to force a narrative. Everyone dragging him in the quote retweets is completely justified and should continue to do so. Yeah, I agree. There's only one guy who could actually get away with playing Deep Draw Exodia FTK. And the reason why he's able to get away with it is because he actually played it in person. He wasn't playing it in Master Duel. Once again, the format's a little bit different here compared to the TCG. And so he was able to make a crowd go wild because Exodia, for the first time in Yu-Gi-Oh history, was actually played at a very, very competitive level. But he did lose because, well, Exodia is highly inconsistent.
Odds that he's actually playing an Exodia deck. So Shark Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a Twitter account, they say, you know, he was literally playing Deep Draw Exodia, a deck notorious for 20 plus minutes of zero interactions. He cropped his hand and covered up his set Royal Magical Library to try and force a narrative. Everyone dragging him in the quote retweets is completely justified and should continue to do so. And continue they do. If you just sort of see here, a lot of people have all kinds of things to say about him.
The furry was disingenuous? Who could have seen it coming? Ah, Digimon, that's a classic too.
The fact that he's a furry, the fact that maybe he's lying and misrepresenting.
I like this guy, Shark. The game hasn't been solitaire in eons, and nearly every example of quote-unquote solitaire in Yu-Gi-Oh! Has never been indicative of how the game is actually played. If he's a new player, he might think Exodia is cool and copied a deck list. Except he cropped his hand to try to hide the fact that he played a literal solitaire FTK while still blatantly trying well, so blatantly lying about the turn timer and being all around disrespectful. He knew exactly what he was doing. Exactly. These bad actors know what they're doing when they try to push this shit on. They try to push this grift onto people. Oh man, modern Yu-Gi-Oh just sucks. Literally, and then you're playing some degenerate shit like Exodia FTK or Grenmaju FTK. Like, goddamn. If you're gonna play an OTK deck, I mean, one I'd recommend is Numerons. That's probably because I actually played that one, and I've actually had some interesting games with it. It's not a traditional OTK deck. It's all reliant on the extra deck.
Inventing things. He might think Exodia is cool, or somebody says that Deep Draw Exodia doesn't run Raigeki, so maybe he's just a new player, doesn't know how to play it.
I just gotta
There's
buy
all
me
kinds
some
of opinions here.
Blossoms.
You can go through them all. And our story basically ends with Papa Mutt, after I guess facing a lot of backlash for this, saying, haha, okay, I get it, gamers, my bad. I promise I won't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever again. I've uninstalled the game, I won't talk about it, stream it. You guys win, y'all are built different. Please stop telling me to die in DMs. You
Yeah,
guys
that's kind of going too far.
Me playing it. Thank you to everybody who sent a kind message. I muted all the threads from yesterday. I have no desire to engage with that community anymore. So, what do we have here? A lot, just a lot to say. So, first and foremost, I think that Papa Mutt definitely did misrepresent the situation, right? He cropped out his hand on purpose because I think he knew, the Exodia deck is similarly uninteractive, and that would probably shape people's opinions of the situation. But the experience that he had here is not exactly a new or novel one, right? There are a lot of people who play Master Duel, and I think it's been happening more now because Master Duel is this very accessible way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! It's on Steam, so you get a lot of VTubers and other variety streamers just trying it out for the first time because it's there. They remember playing a long time ago. They play Master Duel, things get a little rough, they have a bad experience, they tweet about it, and then it all kind of goes to shit. As for the Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, that's the thing about Twitter. This happens all the fucking time. There's a reason why I'm not on it.
Player side of things, I think people are right to, call out that maybe there is a little bit of hypocrisy here and that there's certainly some hyperbole for clicks happening. But I just walk away from the situation not feeling very good about any of it from any sides. Because yes, him misrepresenting the game makes it harder for a newcomer to want to give the thing a shot. But also, I don't know.
Or
I mean, when I see things like, come on, guys, let's keep dragging him in the quote retweets, or he must be mentally ill, or something like that, is that really a win? I mean,
well, when it comes to internet blood sports, it is a win, absolutely. I also think it's a good example of gatekeeping. I think, this guy who's just trying to push a narrative to dissuade people from playing the game absolutely got gatekept. This is an example of gatekeeping actually working. The Yu-Gi-Oh community is, beyond Reddit, is actually pretty based. I don't know much about the Pokemon TCG fan base. I mean, aside from, Max Mofo's in it, and he makes some pretty funny videos. Apologies, I still got this cough from, a week ago. But Magic the Gathering, holy shit. That community has just gone to shit. I don't know how else to put it. It's just bad. Really, really bad.
At the end of the day, yeah, sure, I guess when things sort of turned on him, he spun the narrative and said that, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Players had all bullied him. But they did bully him, at least some did. I do believe that there are people who probably said some really terrible stuff. I saw.
So, okay. Apologies for pausing again, but I think I do want to make a bit of a point here. There is a line between gatekeeping and actually bullying. Just telling somebody to KYS or I don't know, just only saying, slurs. Yeah, I don't think that's productive gatekeeping. I think that's actually bullying, in a sense. I mean, then again, I'm the type of person who does say a lot of that shit. So it's weird coming from me. But unlike a lot of those guys, I could actually control my anger. I could just say a quick, like, just then fuck off and not really escalate it. I've gotten quite good at walking away from things, so to speak. If it's getting a little heated, I could just walk away. It seems like the guys who are telling this VTuber to off themselves. Yeah, no, that's not cool. But at the same time, the actual gatekeepers did their jobs perfectly here.
Awesome quote retweets, and probably in his DMs and all that. And we all just end with a person leaving the community with a bad taste in their mouth. And I think zooming out a little bit, anybody just seeing this sort of like in the tertiary view, Yu-Gi-Oh players, we don't exactly come out looking better for it either, right? Now,
I think among the general, like, non-woke people, I think we do come off better for it. Like, those who actually have morals, ethics, and principles, like, I see this whole situation as a win. I don't know about you, but I certainly see this as a win. I mean, one as a part of the Yu-Gi-Oh community, and another as, I don't know, pro gatekeeping. This was a good thing. But now that we did our thing, it's best not to, to badger him. Just that will actually paint us in a bad light.
in our defense, people show up, they insult our favorite game, we want to defend it. We want to say, hey, you could play some hand traps. Hey, you could play some board breakers. Hey, here's how like this strategy works. Here's what you could do or what sort of deck you could build to play against it. But the thing is, I think that the internet can quickly spiral things into more of a just like a battlefield, right? Where he's dunking in our game, we gotta dunk on him back. He's trying to, rage bait. Well, we are gonna take the bait and we're gonna like, fight him back. And it just, we're sort of losing track of the big picture here, which is that this is a valid criticism that can happen in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think there are things that can be done about it. I think on Konami's end, Master Duel could do a better job with its tutorial modes and its solo gates. The game really doesn't prepare you for what, is actually out there in the ranked ladder.
The same thing with the TCG. That's an actual criticism right there. Paul is actually very good at giving criticism to the game, which a lot of people agree with, myself included.
Right? People's opinions of Yu-Gi-Oh! Are that it's like how it was in the playground or how it was when I watched the anime. But the game is...
Playground rules, guys. I play Mystical Space Typhoon and I win. God damn, that would actually be a really funny tournament. Just playground rules.
There's nothing like that today. It can be overwhelming. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a lot of fun when you do know how to play it. I don't think that Yu-Gi-Oh!'s rules are overcomplicated. That's always going to be kind of one of my takes that I'll give is people say Yu-Gi-Oh! Has too many rules. I don't think so. I disagree. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh!'s rules are intuitive and make sense. But when you are thrown into it for the first time, it happens really fast. It is really overwhelming. And if you don't have, a guide that says, hey, here's hand traps and how they work. Hey, here's board breakers.
I think Konami's actually trying to rectify that with its new it has like 2 pre-made decks. I forget what the product's called, but they're trying to rectify this a little bit, and they're actually going to provide an updated rulebook too. I think that actually goes over hand traps, so that's honestly really appreciated.
You can use Dark Roller no more. You can use Nibiru to like stay in the game. Then yeah, people are going to continue to have this bad experience and continue to take to Twitter or other places and tell their friends or fans or followers that Yu-Gi-Oh! Has just gone off the rails. I think it's our responsibility then to have patience and understanding here. And so instead of trying to dunk on people or calling them mentally ill, it might be better to offer some sort of help, assistance, coaching. Sure, I really think Konami needs to maybe be doing more on their part to help with that too. But I think that just scoring internet points and then scaring people off from the community doesn't do us a good, it just doesn't put us in the most positive light. There are some examples though of this having kind of more of a happy ending, so I wanted to bring those up really quickly.
Oh yeah, I forgot he mentioned someone else in this video too. Once again, it's been like a week since I've last seen this. 2 weeks ago, god damn, holy shit, it really has been 2 weeks. Oh man, everything just fucking flies by for Scurvy, doesn't it? But But yeah, let's continue. I didn't mean to pause
The
here.
first one is Raran. So
Oh, Rarin. The basically he makes Hearthstone videos. Um, and not gonna lie, I think he kind of contributes to a lot of the current perceptions about that game. Don't get me wrong, Hearthstone has its problems, but I do think that he's not really helping. And I know exactly the situation he's talking about here. That Paul is talking about here. That Rarin tried to learn how to play Yu-Gi-Oh, modern Yu-Gi-Oh, and didn't really like it.
you guys probably know about this video. MBT and Farfa have kind of talked about this guy. He is a Hearthstone YouTuber, but he did a video a couple months back where I spent 10 hours learning Yu-Gi-Oh to prove that it's ridiculous. And I'll just show a couple of quick clips from it.
I'm gonna play this game for 10 hours.
Dude, you could learn how to play Yu-Gi-Oh in like 2 hours. That's how long it took my brother's roommate to learn how to play the game. It didn't take 10 hours. You kind of need to have a friend who's already in the hobby to simplify it for you. Shocking.
And I'm gonna do this to showcase to all of you how ridiculous this game ends up being.
Yeah, so people wanted me to react to this video. I never really got to, so this is, I guess, as close as it gets.
The biggest difference being there's not really a mana resource system. You can kind of just play cards
No
if
mana.
your cards allow you to. And not to mention how long some of the card text actually.
Long card text, like, holy shit! Like some of that shit. This isn't even the longest card text in the game. You could discard one archetype monster, this, Salamangrate. You could literally replace the quote, like the quotes with X. That's all you need to do. And it's instantly less, it instantly has less characters. You could discard one Salamangrate monster, send one Salamangrate monster from your deck to the graveyard. They even shortened graveyard down to GY because of that complaint. Then draw one card. If you control a Salamangrate Link monster that was Link summoned using a monster with its name as material, you could discard one Salamangrate monster, draw 2 cards. You can only, and then there's the once per turn effect.
Is. From an outsider's perspective, Yu-Gi-Oh seems like the most ridiculous card game that exists.
Okay, so he makes this video. He has some crazy moments. You know,
How long
has
is this
this
gonna
part
take? I'm
where
gonna
he's
get a
like,
drink
"Yep,
while this guy's doing his turn. I'll come back and see what I missed. Give me
I'm
a
gonna
second.
go and get a drink," and it continues to
Haha, hey, it's my solitaire. Ha, funny, XD.
happen and all that stuff. Well, to fast forward, I like that even though this video does not have a super positive slant, he later goes on to actually play some Edison format with Simo in a video.
And that actually saves you from losing.
Yes, I love not losing. All right.
We'll just get in for 8.
Yeah, so he actually gets to play Edison format. It's a much more tame, manageable, kind of accessible form of Yu-Gi-Oh! And this has a happy ending, right? He also ended up going on Farfa's stream, and people kind of helped him out, and there was just like, there was a nice sort of happy ending vibe here.
The way that I teach people Yu-Gi-Oh is I have two decks. It's the exact same deck list, the exact same cards. We play open-handed, and I actually tell them, I explain the different kinds of monsters, effect, spells, traps, all that good stuff. And then we actually get to our first match, which is entirely open-handed. They know what I have, I know what they have. Pretty good way to teach somebody how to play the game in, probably like 4 hours or less. That's just the highest estimate. I was able to teach my brother's roommate how to play in like 2.
It didn't end with him angrily leaving the community and saying that all Yu-Gi-Oh players are just a joke for playing this game, so I think that's a really good example of it working out well. Another situation that I wanted to point out was Ludwig's YouTuber tournament. So Ludwig...
Oh, Ludwig, this guy.
Did this back in, I want to say it was like, yeah, December of last year, where he kind of had this YouTuber thing with mainstream YouTubers like Sykkuno and Fuslie and Moist Critical. And they played Yu-Gi-Oh! And it was
The thing is, Moist Critical actually does play Yu-Gi-Oh! So there's that.
mostly just anime decks, and they were having a bit of a laugh. Some highlights.
Okay, well,
attack
I
it,
can kill
he
this thing,
loses.
surely.
Can.
Oh, wait, I can just melt your life points. Oh my god.
Yeah, so there's funny moments like that. There's also some typical jokes you hear about like Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards having too much text.
There's a lot of words on that card, and I'm not reading them.
If you target,
No, return up.
Yeah, so this was another instance of, you know, people kind of playing
At least
Yu-Gi-Oh! and
Critical
to some
actually
degree
makes it
misrepresenting
funny.
it, not really knowing what's going on, but people really liked this video. It was fun. A lot of people said it, you know, brought back their childhood feelings of Yu-Gi-Oh! I know nothing about this game, but it was hilarious. You know, do some more. Seeing all these card effects was like really epic. You know, there's like a mirror forest. My deck has no pathetic cards. The Shadow Realm. I felt like I was watching, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Again. And so I think that it reminds me basically that Yu-Gi-Oh! Exists almost in two realms, maybe even three. There are people like me, or you probably if you're watching this, where we have played Yu-Gi-Oh! We know how it goes. We know the nuances of modern day Yu-Gi-Oh! And we can enjoy it, maybe even in spite of them. But we're also the same people who, when you know an outsider comes in and insults the game or kind of is overwhelmed with the game, we sometimes can get a little bit passionate and impatient about like letting them know that they're wrong.
I think the community's kind of right in that regard. It's just a basic form of gatekeeping where it's like, dude, have you even tried? Have you actually even looked into the game? Like, seeing how to counter, like, people just just going through their entire fucking deck? Like, there is that.
On the other end of the spectrum, there are people who remember what Yu-Gi-Oh! Was like as a kid and remember that playground thing, and so they want to try this game out, and they don't have such a great experience with it. I think the crucial part to Yu-Gi-Oh!'s success, especially in the future, is how can we kind of like meld those two groups. I'm not going to get into it too much now, but I think that alternative formats is one of the things that people sort of cite. Like I mentioned, Mastral making better tutorials.
Yeah, Konami should absolutely start dabbling in alternative formats. I think the best one would probably be late Zexal, but before Pendulum Monsters. That's a format I really enjoyed. I mean, just keep the Dragon Rulers banned, and you know, you're good.
And also just, you know, some forms of coaching, content creator collaborations, things like that, that show Yu-Gi-Oh! In the best light that we can to outsiders. It is easy to forget that as a noob, this game is overwhelming. There is a lot of card text. There are long combos. You can face decks that won't let you play. Yu-Gi-Oh! Can be fun and you can deal with them, but you have to get there first. And I think our responsibility as players is to make sure that we do not allow situations like, you know, the Papa Mutt situation, you know, where people just leave and we kind of, you know, cheer on the fact that, you know, we won, we got him. I don't think that's a win. I think that we should all kind of be ashamed of that.
Yeah, but we as a community, we also need to gatekeep. There are going to be bad actors. Papa Mutt is a bad actor. He is going into something just to trash on it. We as the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community have every right to trash on him back and to gatekeep.
This was not a good sort of scenario for anybody involved. So, yeah, I want to hear what you guys think about it.
Alrighty, so that's basically the end of the video. It's just another minute. But just give me a quick little moment and I'll be ready for video number 2. So I'm going to play a different song. And I am back. Alrighty, so... what was our next video again? Was it why I stopped loving multiplayer games? Turns out... hey, AC, yeah, I did need to head to the little Clementine's room. But, we're back, and we actually have ourselves a bonus segment here. It's a video I found, like, a few days ago, and I thought it was actually pretty fitting here. So, this is Gatekeeping in Gaming is Natural by Upper Echelon Games. So, if you don't know who Upper Echelon is, he makes videos on all kinds of topics from, like, AI, scams, video games, stuff like that. So without further ado... Oh, wait, that's just the intro. Let's get started.
Gamble this time or beat around the bush because it deserves to be said flat out and it also deserves to be said loudly. However, by saying these words, I'm also making a commitment to adequately articulate why I have said them and explain what they actually mean, because the concept of gatekeeping does not and should not mean what mainstream sources often tell you it does. Gatekeeping is an angry white man's way of pushing minorities out of games. That's the kind of stuff that you'll often hear.
Yeah, when it comes to definitions, never trust the mainstream. They're wrong about everything. If they can't define what a woman is, how can you expect them to define anything else?
Gatekeeping is just incels who don't like women that are strong and independent gamers.
We're gonna
stuff like that.
speed this up a little.
The term is often used as an insult, and the intention is to bludgeon anyone who disagrees with that by marking them as some sort of antagonistic force that prevents others from having fun. That definition simply isn't true. It's partially true for a tiny, very tiny fraction of people. The same way it's true to say that conservatives are alt-right or Democrats are Antifa, because an extremely small number among those groups do fall into such categories, which holds true for gatekeepers as well.
Though, one quick addendum I want to make, if you believe that men can be women and women can be men, that is innately an extremist position to take, because the belief in itself is extreme.
And this villain-esque definition. But the reality is blanket statements about a large group of people are often almost entirely wrong, and that remains consistent here with gatekeeping. So what is it really? The short answer is that it's just a way to protect the integrity of a system, not just games, but the long answer is that when communities grow, they attract many different perspectives, and those perspectives are not always symbiotic. Here's an example, and bear with me because it might seem strange at first, but I promise it'll make sense in the end. I am about to go skiing this week. I'm not a good skier, but I know how to do a pizza slice and do a basic turn. I will be going to a ski mountain where there are trails from beginner to expert. What is it, like green something to black diamond? And I will take the chairlift anywhere I want
Green
on
square.
that mountain and ski down whatever slope it is. These trail markers are the most basic form of gatekeeping. It's not forced, and it's not mandatory in most cases, but they signify a particular difficulty that indicates whether or not you should go down that trail. Here's the thing.
Pizza, French fries, pizza, French fries. I'm sorry, I had to do that. That has to be one of my favorite episodes of South Park. But distractions aside, in martial arts, Scurvy does Muay Thai, and if you want to start doing like basic tournaments, you gotta be a yellow belt. Scurvy is a yellow belt. And the reason why they say white belts can't do the tournaments, it's because there's actual sparring, there's actual contact, it's not just like a display of technique like the karate tournaments I've been to when I was like a kid. Like this is like actual punches to the face. Like it's an actual fight. With like weight class and all that. It's very much UFC light. And by light I mean very light. And hell, even for the mastery classes at the MMA studio I go to, it's like you have to be yellow or higher because it turns out there's actual sparring there. Like if you're not careful, you will get hit in the face. And so that's why they want you to be a rank higher than how you started. Unless you have a history. Yeah, I think lower ranks don't allow elbows. Um, might depend on the school. I'm not entirely sure. The thing is, like this week, we actually were practicing our elbow strikes, and I've also been practicing that on like the training bag at the gym too. But yeah, those stuff like that exists for a reason. Like you need to get good. You need to get good at the hobby or game you want to play before you start doing the highly advanced shit. There's a reason why. I said this at the beginning segment that the Dark Souls community, get good is a common phrase among it, because Dark Souls is a very hard game, and if you want to progress, you got to learn how to get good. You need to learn how to time your attacks. You need to learn how to move correctly and know attack patterns. In Taekwondo, it also has like a minimum belt rec. Yes, that's also true. The same thing with the Supak Do. That's the art Scurvy did when he was a kid. In Muay Thai, as I'm currently learning, as in they don't allow elbows in tournaments. I practice all 5 elbow directions. I see, that's actually pretty cool. I didn't even know there were 5 directions you could do. We were only practicing 2 on Monday. Anyways, let's continue.
Someone like me who sucks at skiing can easily just go to a black diamond and pizza slice their way down off of a cliff and into a snowbank. That's fine. I'm allowed to do it. I need to assume.
I think that actually happened to me as a kid. I thought I was ready to go down a blue, and then I decided to take a left turn into like a ski park, and it was a snowboard part. It was a snowboard park actually, and I got seriously fucking hurt. But turns out, thanks to all the karate I did, I was still able to ski. Because I said, it's like, I'm fine. Man. Scurvy had an interesting childhood. That was a fun ski trip.
Assume responsibility when it happens, obviously, and I probably should have known better, but the only person it really affects is me. Purely just me. And maybe the person who has to spend, 5 minutes getting me in a snowmobile, but that's their job. It mostly just affects me. Seems kind of unrelated to gatekeeping, right? Wrong, because this conveys the example of a static, immovable, relatively unchangeable landmark that we engage with knowing full well that we have no control over its composition. The architect behind the trails, sure, when it was built, they had control, but average skiers go to a mountain, they ride the trails, and they leave with absolutely no input, no influence, and no control over the slopes. Here's the problem. That immutable foundation changes when you consider the concept of gaming and digital fantasy worlds. The mountain doesn't move. If I go to a black diamond and wipe out 45 times, I don't get to...
Let's see. Speedwagon says, as a taekwondo person, I get punched and kicked in the head a lot. So it makes sense to have a belt requirement. Yes. That it does. Damn, you're getting kicked in the head? Holy shit, I've been punched in the face a few times. It's because of exhaustion and folly on my end. But you're actually getting kicked in the head? I mean, most people in the class that I go to, they are somewhat shorter than me. So it probably is a little bit harder for them to kick me in the head. It's a little easier for them to actually punch me in the face.
The bottom of the slope and demand that the incline be made less steep for me because I simply don't have the option or the ability to do anything at all about the reality of that space. And I should rightly shut my mouth and ski within my skill bracket. In gaming, that barrier of physical permanence doesn't exist, and someone who skis the black diamond as an amateur can just take to social media and complain, which very tangibly ends, all too often, in modifications to the game itself being made, because a mountain can't be patched with a new version overnight, like just a software update, while a video game can. That's just one example, though. The value of gatekeeping is not framed around the attempt to bar anyone else from ever joining the space, despite what gaming journalists would attempt to claim more often than not, but instead...
So, in a way, literally, my knees on that ski trip were like, oh god, I'm getting my vegetables today. As soon as my legs were in that funky position at that snowboard park, Like, there was like a small little snowboard park there. Basically, my knees were fucking killing me, that's for sure. Like, I needed help. And thankfully, I did get it.
Framed around one's ability to protect the space itself from influence that degrades the overall experience. This is where an obvious counterpoint must be addressed. Degrades the experience for who, though? What gives some people the right to dictate to others what the correct experience is? Something along those lines. Outside the very obvious answer of developers are able to dictate to players what the experience will be, there is a much more...
And that's basically it. The devs are the ones who communicate, whether or not... wait, hold on. Let me rephrase that. The developers are the ones to communicate how the game is meant to be played. Like, we'll use Dark Souls again. You are meant to learn attack patterns. You are meant to learn how to move correctly. You are meant to learn how to, like, when to strike. Or for the example I like to use a lot too, especially in this stream, Mario Wonder. You're supposed to know when to jump. You're supposed to know, like, what power-up is best for the stage. You are supposed to know to not die and to not get hit.
Important parallel to draw. Tabletop gaming, and primarily, I guess for my purposes today, Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is most often experienced in smaller groups of close, personal friends. Of course, it can be played with larger, less integrated communities, but the typical format would be a group of friends who know each other to some degree or another, joining up for an evening campaign. The idea of gatekeeping is not to bar anyone ever from joining these groups. It is to protect the experience that these groups have.
So, the experience in question, a dwarf from the region of Stretch This Ass, whose name is Ambatukum, is going on an adventure to the what was that location called again? The I'm about to bust in this mountain.
Example. Group A is
That's
composed of
totally
let's say,
how I'd
10
run a
friends who all
D&D
get along
campaign.
decently well.
It's
They
just a
bicker
bunch
and
of
fight
Dreamy
traditional
Bowl
friend things,
references.
sure, but their tabletop gaming sessions are a weekly dose of fun that they generally thoroughly enjoy. Group A, having done this for, let's say, a few months, realizes that one of their neighbors, like down the hall, directly adjacent to them, is interested in being part of the activity. They know this neighbor a little bit, most of them, and they also feel that they shouldn't be barring anyone from participating, because gatekeeping...
That's literally how D&D plays. So it's just a bunch of Dreamy Bowl references, huh? Oh, man, I have a quota, you know, 5 Dreamy Bowl references and 1 racks out per ScurvyRum show episode.
is so wrong to do. Group A meets for their weekly game, the neighbor joins in, and though they have very little relative knowledge of the game at that point, everyone honestly starts somewhere and they end up being a perfectly fine addition to the activity. Great, cool, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Well, Group A, now including Neighbor B, attracts the attention of Neighbor C, a completely different neighbor. Neighbor C doesn't know them quite as much, but once again, familiar with some of the people in the group, and they feel it's not really the right call to tell them no because the activity is for everyone, after all, and they proceed with next week's game. Well, Neighbor C, the third addition to this game, doesn't get the process at all. Not only that, they hate the randomization of the dice and constantly complain that it's unfair.
Why am I not rolling 20s every time? That's the kind of complaint that he's referring to here.
Or rigged. They demand that they be allowed to use different dice with better odds on their turn. They ask to change the direction of the party at inopportune times, trying to control other people's actions, and generally speaking, they negatively impact the enjoyment of everyone around them constantly. What does our friendly group of players decide to do? Well, they can let this person literally ruin their hobby, or they can gatekeep. The concept of gatekeeping is to protect the enjoyment and experience of those that existed in the space to begin with. Nothing prevents Neighbor C from hosting their own game, with modified rules even. Nothing prevents them from inviting further players to that separate event. And more importantly, nothing prevents them from actually participating in the existing weekly game without ruining it for everyone else. But the way they choose to interact with the space is to demand that the space itself change, not just for them, but for those around them, in order to accommodate their personal preferences.
Good God, I can't stand it when people are just like, oh, why isn't this game accommodating to me? Why doesn't it accommodate to me? I need to go to sleep. Good night. Good night, man. But why isn't the game accommodating to me? It's just like, I don't know, you joined the group. You're supposed to be the one who's, supposed to accommodate to the group. That's kind of how D&D works. If you don't want to play, if you're someone like me, very much anti-woke and all that, anti-feminist, whatever. If you don't want to play in a woke campaign, you don't have to play in the woke campaign. You could leave. And and if it was like a long-running group or something, like the DM can just kill off your character.
That's where the difference lies. When I go skiing, there is no possible change to be inflicted upon the mountain itself. I can demand that they make the black diamonds less steep, as an example, but in the end, I cannot impact what already exists. In gaming, that's not the case. I can demand ridiculous things. I can demand difficulty augmentations or mechanical changes that redefine the core enjoyment loop for the community that has been playing for possibly years. And depending on tone, what lies I choose to tell, how I frame my argument, who I even am as a personal human being, and how many other people like me decide we want this space, change it for us, we want it to be different now, I absolutely could impact the overall experience. But here's the part that gets usually missed these days. Gatekeeping and the simple idea of trying to protect something that you care about from being changed or ruined in a way that hurts your own enjoyment is something everyone does. Not only is it exceptionally common, it's also often extremely healthy. When you enjoy something and someone comes in saying, hey, I know you like this, but what about these particular additional features that would open the door for me to also like it just as much as you? You will be very hard-pressed to find anyone, really, who objects to that proposition. But when you are faced with someone demanding, change it now, change it.
And that's the thing, your attitude is very much key here. It's like, hey, what are some things that can allow me to enjoy the game as much as you? Or in the context of a D&D campaign, what will allow me to enjoy the campaign? And the DM will tell the person, it's like, hey, it had, we can be somewhat accommodating, or it's like, the best we could do, X, Y, and Z.
Fully. I don't care what you like. I want it to be better for me, not for you. What you like is wrong. That will be, and should be, met with absolute hostility. Additionally, and this is actually a very important side note, an honest, sincere request to learn about a community or any given activity at all is almost always going to be met with support and assistance. If your response to someone saying, do you enjoy Dungeons & Dragons, is anything akin to, yes, but I'm certainly no expert and I would love to learn more, you will be struggling constantly to find anyone who would be anything other than enthusiastic about that and willing to offer help, advice, or information.
Basically that. If we go back to the Yu-Gi-Oh video that we finished watching, you'll get, if you're actually looking for help, you'll get help. Like, people like that want to teach you how to play the game. People want to help you like understand the mechanics like better. They're not, people aren't necessarily assholes by nature when it comes to helping somebody learn something new. They're assholes when you start shitting on the hobby or the group.
However, if your response is, yeah, duh, and then you proceed to tell them how the one campaign that you know anything about is better than all the others for reasons that actually make no legitimate sense, as well as how certain things should be changed because the racial stat modifiers are racist or something absurd like that, well, you should understand that you aren't going to be received well into that community. They are going to gatekeep you. And really, you shouldn't be received well. Many of the most vocal and loud voices in today's gaming world would have you believe that gatekeeping is like a guy standing at the top of a black diamond trail on a ski mountain saying, you can't go down this if you aren't an expert. Prove to me that you're an expert and anything less is unacceptable. When in reality, gatekeepers are the people in the lodge who tell you to get out and not come back when you are making a scene about how black diamond trails all over the place should be changed because they aren't fun or appealing to me personally.
That's basically it. Like, we don't really like it when drama just breaks out all of a sudden. I don't find it fun. It just wastes my time from actually enjoying the game slash hobby.
Gatekeepers are the people saying, stop peeing in the middle of the trail. The mountain provides fun, yes, but if that's your version of fun, you don't belong here and you don't deserve to be heard or ever even considered. The phrase, okay, are you ready for a hot take? The phrase, everyone's opinion matters, is a fundamentally evil concept. It's not true and should never be true, because some opinions are aimed at affecting change in a space that would be fundamentally destroyed for its existing audience and fans if that opinion were to be acted on. Those people should be excised from the community, else they pollute and degrade everything around them. Now,
Basically this, if you don't gatekeep, your community is going to suffer for it. This is what happened to the Guilty Gear community. And that's another little teaser for my upcoming video.
Now, here's a very, very important side note. This concept does not hold true in all areas of life. We live in a world where the worst among us often seize power in their own space, and these real-world implications of the word gatekeeping should not be willfully misrepresented as some sort of counter-argument or gotcha, but within the context of a digital fantasy world. That's what I'm talking about. Within the context of gaming, video games, that industry, those that enter a space and participate to the benefit of its community should always be welcomed. And those who enter with an expressly defined intention to alter that community's operations, specifically in a way that degrades the experience and harms the existing population, those individuals will always be rejected by the people that came before, by the community which happily existed there to begin with. To be clear, none of this defines whether or not one side or the other should win, or anything similar to that word. It explains that the concept of gatekeeping is a natural, common, healthy phenomenon wherein people who occupy a space originally and enjoy that space as well seek to protect it from those who would harm it deliberately.
And that's the thing too. There are a lot of, once again, I like to call these people bad actors in the sense that they're just trying to rile people up. We saw this with the Papa Mutt guy. In that Yu-Gi-Oh video earlier, he was just trying to rile people up because he got mad that he couldn't stop Gishki FTK while he was playing Exodia FTK.
If the group entering proceeds to gather the numbers, the influence, and the power to affect change anyway, despite that resistance, and it becomes a new space and they now control it and enjoy it instead, that's also a pretty natural occurrence. But this ill-defined and fraudulent claim that gatekeeping...
This is what happened to the Guilty Gear community, at least in the West. In the East, it's pretty cool. And I'm more inclined to actually, like, talk to those people instead of the fucking Westerners who think Bridget is a girl. No, Bridget is a man.
Is damaging, vile, prejudiced, and any other ist or phobic you can think of, is nothing more than idiocy, propagated by those who fail to see the natural premise of rejecting others who would hurt your own experience. Bottom line, gatekeeping is not a negative phenomenon. Gatekeeping is a natural phenomenon that has a very real, very valuable purpose. It's not necessarily always positive either, but it should be accurately understood for what it really is, rather than some twisted and weaponized alteration of what the concept really means, what it actually means. When the media, the activists, and the loudest among us condemn gatekeeping as vile and horrific, they are condemning a phantom of their own imagination, and fail to understand even a basic premise behind what the action of gatekeeping really is, and ultimately what it represents. But that's it. All of this was because it kind of trended on Twitter and a lot of people were talking about it recently, so I wanted to put out my own thoughts because a lot of people being called gatekeepers and being condemned and chastised, they don't really deserve it, and the word is really twisted and doesn't mean what people think it means. It's a really complicated topic, but anyway, if you want to support, there are links down below.
Alright, that's basically the end of the surprise segment. We're gonna get it back to normal speed here for the next one. Oh boy. So, hopefully y'all got a bit of a better view on my opinion of gatekeeping through this video. A surprise little bonus segment, but I don't mind. I don't really have much else to do tonight, so I don't mind adding on a few extra minutes. Alrighty. Let's see, I actually got a few notifications. I'm gonna respond to a comment here, actually. Why not? It's actually pretty indicative. I know I have played NSMBU, but what I'm is if Yoshi takes damage, he wouldn't just go back to a baby. Wow. There we go. Alright. Actually got some comments on that Mario Wonder video that Game Explained posted on the easy mode. Alrighty, but I actually will take a quick little break to the little Clementine's room. Yep. There we go. Let's see. Just gonna put another just a random song here. Let's get to our next video of the night. We're gonna definitely speed this one up.
I have been playing multiplayer games religiously since I was a shitty little squeaker boy. You see, one day
Yeah,
I moved
same
to
here.
a country where I could finally have access to a most hallowed and fabled thing, the internet. Suddenly, a whole new world was revealed to my underdeveloped little mind. Counter-Strike, Team Fortress 2, Unreal Tournament, Halo 2. I
man.
was instantly hooked.
I played a
tiny
lot of
child
TF2 as a
brain
kid.
could not have fathomed the world of possibility that the internet would open up for me when it came to gaming. I'd already fallen in love with single-player titles. Half-Life 1 was the first game I ever played from start to finish, and Combat Evolved was my first ever console game. So you could say I was already in too deep not to be sinking. Multiplayer, however, it changed everything. See, I was always really antisocial. Not out of some awkwardness in my own nature or an inability to make friends or communicate. If anything, I have literally no shame, and am near incapable of
For
feeling
the
social
Alliance.
anxiety. It was more a case of I have always been very picky with who my friends are. The internet changed.
Yeah, same here. It's not easy for Scurvy to make friends, considering those who I think are friends have actually betrayed me.
This. Suddenly, I was hopping from lobby to lobby, making friends with everyone. From fellow squeakers like myself, mics peaking every shrill cry and swear, to people 3 times my age, juggling their free time so they could get one more game on Halo before the wife got back home with the kids. This was, quite frankly, a golden age. From full Xbox parties on COD, where
Dude, I have not played like Halo 2 in its heyday. I was like 8, no, probably younger than that at the time. But oh man, Team Fortress 2 in 2012, that was something else, man. That was an experience. But how does this relate to the topic at hand, you might be asking? You'll see why. For now, just let us spurg about his past.
everyone was discovering a plethora of new mother-related insults to entire weekends wasted on Halo custom games with the boys. Infection, Fat Man, Jenga. If your brain could think it, the community would have already made it. To this day, there's never been a more welcoming and fun atmosphere in online gaming.
Oh
at least
no!
in my experience. I still cherish many of the memories
Dude,
I made
that's
playing
pretty
in
cool.
these lobbies. And some of the people I met, I'm still friends with to this day. So when did it all go wrong? When did all of what made multiplayer enticing and joyous to me finally curl up and die? Well, I assume you're at least somewhat literate, since you're operating your device of choice and clicking this video. So you already know that that's what we're going to be talking about, in real explicit detail. The money game. The first point probably isn't news to anyone. In fact, it's an inescapable reality of our current video gaming industry, and unfortunately capitalist society as a whole. Money talks, baby.
Yeah, money does. There's a reason why I'm not a fan of corporatism. It's because that's how, the language is only money. But I want to let you know, ahead of time, the reason why the game industry became so shitty, for lack of a better word, it's because normies and liberals started to get too involved into things.
Oh yeah, we're starting with good old-fashioned dirty greed. Have you noticed that as time goes on, you're unlocking less and less and less and less in your online shooty bang-bangs by actually playing the game? Is it starting to irk you that we once had games with fully realized progression systems, where you'd unlock, through actual playtime and enjoyment, a variety of class options, cosmetics, and other stuff that just made you feel that dopamine hit non-stop straight to the veins? Well, fear no more, little ones. Papa Greedy Publisher is here, and he's going to make sure to protect you from that scary, scary dopamine. No, no, no. You shouldn't be allowed to feel the rush of progression and increasing customization without forking out some money. It's for your own safety, after all. I mean, what else can we do to protect you from this horrible and addictive chemical? No, don't look at that. That's not important. That addiction is fine. This one is not. Move along.
Yeah, game companies love capitalizing off of gambling addicts. There's a reason why European countries really want to regulate it. I'm surprised that it's not really drawing any ire from the U.S. government at all. But then again, anything to keep the goy being goy handled.
Oh, now.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
If your brain still processes basic information, you're getting the gist of where I'm going. Greed has stripped down multiplayer experiences to the absolute most basic form. Take Overwatch 2 for an example. They've removed the terrible loot box system, at least at the time of recording. You know, the one that encourages gambling in children. And what do they replace it with? Ah, right, just hard cash. You don't earn jack shit anymore in Overwatch 2. No, your rank go up or your rank go down. That is the only real progression you get nowadays. But why would they do this? All these different developers and publishers, why would they take away your ability to organically earn things in their games and unlock cosmetics and other stuff that is shown to factually increase most people's enjoyment of a game? Yes, you got me. The answer is literally, and will always be, money. They're greedy bastards. They know that if you don't have any other way to unlock something, you'll feel pressured by that little crackhead inside your brain.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you get addicted to crack? Did somebody get addicted to crack?
To toss them $50 here and there for a few meaningless cosmetics. But they're not meaningless, are they? Not to you. Because surprise, surprise, people like to display their individuality and personality through their online personas. So, easy money, suckers. You want access to the things that will allow you to differentiate your character from everyone else's? Cough up the dough, buddy boy. This isn't progression to me. It's not even close, and it simply doesn't give me the same dopamine hit that the good old days on Halo unlocking recon through Vidmaster challenges did. The feeling of hitting max rank in Modern Warfare 2, the old one, and having access to every weapon in every loadout because I had earned it by playing the damned video game.
That's kind of what Mario Wonder is reminding me of. The olden days of video games where you actually had to earn things. You have to earn the badges. You have to, or in one way or another, you need to have enough of the flower coins to afford getting the badge, or you have to do badge challenges to earn them, and you have to do the challenges to actually get the good ones and the expert ones too, though fuck the invisibility one.
I don't have fun in the long run if there is no tangible progression in the game. I simply get bored and I leave. I can only play the same maps over and over and over again with nothing changing so many times before I just don't care anymore, before every angle and every tactic is old hat. But progression used to at least provide some incentive to keep playing.
When it comes to dead games, and you know, Scurvy actually does play some dead games, like Quake Champions, the rank system doesn't really mean anything anymore, and so the way you kind of show off skill is through the casual mode, deathmatch.
To try different crap and experiment, no more. I know what some of you have been shouting at your screen, but oh great and venerable law, what about season passes? Don't those offer you some sort of progression? Well, wouldn't you know it, little guy? I was about to get onto that right now. Season pass systems and FOMO. I don't think there is a single implementation of a system into video games that I hate more or will ever hate more than the season pass. I know, that was a really hard-hitting statement, wasn't it? But of course, you're...
Speaking of Quake Champions, in terms of the battle pass in that game, it's basically meaningless. They basically just recycle the same cosmetics month to month. There's not really anything new. Once again, it's kind of a dead game. It's only like 300 players.
Wondering why I despise season passes.
I'm
with
glad
such a
that it's still
burning
up, though.
passion.
It's a fun
They'll
game.
argue that at the very least they're better than predatory loot boxes and gambling systems. And yeah, you're not wrong. But that doesn't invalidate the new, and to me, much more infuriating issue that they create. Stick with me here. I know most of you are probably too young or too lazy to have ever worked a real job. Trust me, I feel you here. Work sucks, which is exactly why season passes also suck. Let me try to put this into...
Yeah, that's something I'm not a fan of. It's like, what is it with season passes? Like, why is it that you have to treat the game that you're invested with a season pass as like a second job?
Simple words. I already have to work a job to survive and exist. And trust me, I loathe every fucking minute of it. I don't want a second job, or a third, or a fourth. That's what season passes are. See, publishers started feeling the gambling heat when it came to the loot boxes, so there needed to be a new system, one that was still just as predatory and unfun, but at the very least didn't encourage an entire new generation to become gambling fiends. Don't worry, we have Twitch streamers to help with that anyway. Well, here comes Fortnite.
Oh boy.
Yeah, do the funny dancey moves.
Fortnite.
Woo.
Fortnite and Mark Ass Brownlee. God damn, why did Will Smith say Mark Ass, not Marquez? The funny dancey emote.
Fortnite arguably popularized
Dude,
the
what?
season pass system, where you'd buy a pass for each season and unlock stuff while playing a game that was, of course, free to play. Look, I'll give Epic and Fortnite shit until the day I die, but at the very least, you actually complete their pass relatively quickly. It's not the worst deal in the world. At the time, it was a big step up from loot boxes, especially if you knew you'd sink that time into the game anyway. The issue arose when more and more other games started adapting the same system.
Doom!
You see, when every fucking multiplayer game in existence implements a season pass, suddenly you're starting to run into an issue. Time is precious. At the very least, mine is. You might not value yours at all, but that's your problem. If you play more than one, or even two multiplayer games actively, then you suddenly experience this dreadful thing that is clearly 100%
Anime?
publishers.
What?
Good old fear of missing out. Say you're a completionist and
What
you play
is happening
I
with
don't know,
Fortnite? I mean, I know they have
Destiny
that
2,
Goku
and
skin.
you like trying to keep
What?
up with content, getting everything in terms of items and such, and honestly enjoy hopping on with friends and grinding every so often. Now, imagine a season pass system suddenly shows up, and you now have a limited time every season to either play Destiny 2 enough for it to almost feel like...
And from what I've heard about Destiny 2 from my friend El Shefo / the Micropenis Maniac, that does not sound fun to me. It just doesn't. I don't understand, like... Oh, man, there's a reason why I quit World of Warcraft. It's starting to get like this too, the game. And you pay a fucking subscription. You pay a subscription to World of Warcraft. And they're starting to implement this FOMO shit.
work or miss out on loads of shit. Worse though, it's shit you've paid for, that if you don't complete in the allotted time, is gone forever. Now,
Yeah,
I
that's
get it.
fucking
the effect
scummy.
this has on many is the intended one, which is they start grinding like crazy and burning insane amounts of time on these games because the fear is too strong. They need it. They need the time-limited cosmetics and items that will disappear into the void forever. They need the crack cocaine.
I don't need it. I don't need it. I definitely don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't need it.
I need it!
I don't like feeling pressured to play a game when I don't
Yeah,
want
neither do I.
I don't like that stopping for a few months.
But guess who keeps doing this shit? The fucking normies. They don't question anything. They're just like, oh, I'm just gonna pay for the season pass. Nilly-willy, not thinking about what it's going to do to the industry.
Just to do other shit. You know, like real life shit. Means you can miss a bunch of crap that will forever remain empty on that in-game tick box of stuff you want to collect. The only effect season passes have ever had for me is that they make me drop a game, almost permanently. I'll come back for large expansions and maybe play it when my friends are on, but I will lose literally all drive to go and run on the hamster wheel for measly rewards because, oh no, time is running out. It is the quickest way to sour me on a game that is otherwise an enjoyable experience, to somehow turn what should be the enjoyment of playing into the same feeling I get when I have deadlines for work. I don't want or need a second job, and any video game that tries to make itself into more of a job than a game for you, this shit isn't worth my time.
Exactly. And that's something I've been realizing more and more. It's like, if a game is a fucking job, it's not a game, it's a job. I don't want to play a job. That's another reason why I quit WoW. It feels like a fucking job.
Look, it would make sense if you only played one game, ever. But I don't. I enjoy variety. I like to hop between
same
different
here.
engaging experiences all the time. But when every single multiplayer game starts implementing these trash passes, I would rather just not touch them at all. Even worse when they do shit like Valorant and Halo Infinite, which by the way I have uninstalled, so I won't even show footage of, where you have to do specific challenges to even level the pass. Challenges that force you into game modes you don't like.
Thankfully, the Quake Champions one doesn't do that. It's pretty simple.
Or to play with weapons you aren't good with, or even classes or heroes you dislike.
Oh yeah,
to
the
progress.
weapon stuff. Yeah, that's something.
Is
But
atrocious. Not
it's
only
just
is the
typical
game trying
Quake
to stress
shit.
you out with a time limit for unlocking crap you have paid for already, it is also making you play the game in ways that you might not enjoy at all. This mountain of shit is why I hate season passes. I rarely, if ever, spend money on them anymore, because I would rather dedicate my time to things and experiences that value that time. You want to see a few good
same
examples
here.
of how this system can be implemented well? Look no further than the Master Chief Collection and Deep Rock Galactic. In the MCC, your season passes are all free and they never expire, so you can play the game whenever the fancy strikes you, and you'll just unlock stuff as you play.
That's actually really cool. I think Quake Champions should actually adopt that. Wouldn't you know? That's something that, you know, should be for every game, Fortnite included. I think, once again, but normies love FOMO. And we, as the gaming community, didn't do a good enough job at gatekeeping the normies. And so what has the gaming industry turned into? Just a FOMO capitalist machine.
Lovely.
Corporatist.
Simple. No
Correction.
FOMO.
I
no
like
stress,
capitalism.
making me feel like my time would be better spent doing literally anything else. Deep Rock Galactic, again, because you bought the game full price, offers every season's reward tree for free. But even better, if you miss any one season and don't get all the items, they then move from the season pass into the game's loot pool, so you can still unlock them with RNG and game currency over time. Would you look at that?
That's actually pretty cool.
Non-predatory seasonal content systems? Color me impressed.
Yeah,
Remember
fuck
how a
Blizzard.
long time ago, around the start of this video, I was
yes. This part of the video. The normies can be blamed entirely for this.
talking about all of these positive social experiences I had on multiplayer games. Even when I was a child, interacting with people who had no reason to be cool, welcoming and embracing of me into their little friendship groups, yet still were. I have not had an experience similar to that in any multiplayer video game for what feels like a decade since. Except for co-op games, which I'm going to make a separate video on. Have you? I don't know what
I'm looking forward to that one, my guy.
the fuck happened to gaming communities.
You'll get a
These
subscription.
days, all you run into is toxic sweatlords on literally every damn video game.
Even for some of the more enjoyable ones, at least in my opinion, like Guilty Gear Strive, I still see some fucking tryhards. And my drunk ass, it takes a little bit of getting used to. But I when I say tryhard, I'm not talking about the people who actually have mastered their character. I'm talking about the people who are like, oh, I could do this basic combo, and this drunk guy isn't gonna expect it.
All that you ever see
And then I
in
beat
text
them
and
a few
voice chat is
rounds
people
after.
screaming slurs at each other, raging at their own team, or just being massive toxic balls of feces.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind being toxic in games. I mean, I've called people faggot like 1,000,000 times. They don't even know I'm bisexual. So it pisses them off even more.
All day, every day, in all their matches. What happened? I'm asking genuinely on this one. I don't know. I can't begin to guess. Is it just the increased access of people to these games has allowed the dregs of humanity to wash in? Maybe. I've even had theories that maybe the creation of communities on stuff like Discord results in everyone who isn't a horrid little gremlin just finding personal communities dedicated around the games they play, where everyone is just overall nicer to each other. So all you're left with in public matchmaking in terms of
it's
people
actually
who
out.
actually use the in-game comms is honestly just the worst people you could ever imagine. I do a little trolling myself, and I'll be equally toxic at someone if they spend an entire round flaming me. I don't go around flaming my team in ranked all day, or constantly seem to just
All
be
day,
trying to
every
start
day,
toxic
man.
arguments in every single match I'm in. It's just depressing. I live during a time where even with the infamous pre-game lobbies of people telling you they're going to fuck your mom, the majority of people I meet
Oh,
do quite
man.
alright.
And once again, because of normies complaining, oh, the game's too toxic, I don't want to be told that, this guy fucked my mom. Ah, man, I swear, people just have ridiculously thin skin these days. If you can't take yeah, I fucked your mom last night on Xbox Live, you don't belong here in the gaming community.
They'd be capable of having conversations. They wouldn't take the damn game so seriously. It's like people's ability to have fun has just fucking evaporated. They all want to be esports players, and they think they're hot shit, so they'll act that way in...
Yeah, and people act like this in real life too. I'm not surprised by that development. Let's see.
all
Anyways.
the games they play. It just isn't fun anymore. Multiplayer game...
Yeah, I'm also tired of playing with or against tryhards. There's a reason why I like single player games a lot more, because I could kind of go at things my own pace and not being told, "Oh man, you're not good enough to do this." And I always tell those people, "Fuck you. I will play the game how I will play the game." I will use a good example of this. Sonic Frontiers. People will say, "Oh, cyberspace sucks." And no, I actually quite liked cyberspace a lot. I think the open zone is better, but I think cyberspace is a good, like, not distraction, but a good, break from the open zone.
Lobbies are in general so miserable that you have to wonder why any of these people in these matches are even bothering to play the games at all anymore. Like, unironically go the fuck outside and touch some grass.
Basically.
The dream of the esports wannabe. One trend I noticed as esports was becoming more and more of a big deal was that players lost their minds trying to emulate these people in professional teams. And the more they tried, the more they turned into the stinky sweatlords that infest online games nowadays. People who think they're gonna be the next Shroud. So they're on there clenching their cheeks as hard as possible. Literally shitting and shaking the entire match.
Oh
Because
my
if they
god,
didn't
man!
win, then how could they possibly be having any fun?
Those people, those tryhards be like, I'm about to come. Oh. We reached our quota for Dreamable references tonight, boys!
These are the people that will shout at you in unranked matches for picking non-meta characters, weapons, classes, etc. People who have warped their idea of fun to such a pathetic degree that even when they're like not platinum rank in whatever they're playing, they'll still act like they're in Grandmasters.
What?
I've always despised playing the meta. It's boring.
Same
You wanna
here.
see how boring? Take a look at Overwatch, and how a stale and incredibly boring meta to watch and play pretty much kneecapped the competitive esports scene. Well, now you have millions of little troglodytes trying to mimic their favorite nerd from esports, and constantly playing only the meta shit, and raging any time they lose while playing that meta. Or the even more terrible crime is committed of someone not caring about the meta at all. Blasphemy! How could you possibly be playing this game just to kick back and relax? What do you mean you're gonna play an off-meta character? What do you mean you're using that terrible gun
Oh,
for the fun of
God.
it? What is wrong with you?
I swear, these people have just a bunch of corn up their asses. If you get the reference, you'll get the reference. But that's how normies play these games. They look at people like Shroud, and they think, oh, I could be just like Shroud. But no, in reality, they're just sweaty tryhards who just waste their time learning a game that they could never be good at. Once again, the importance of gatekeeping. If you're just trying to play the game just so you could become an esports star, you don't belong here.
Bearable. Of course, esports gave rise to another terrible thing for multiplayer gaming. And that is developers and publishers who see the money in that industry and suddenly want every goddamn game they ever make to be an esports. What does this mean?
What it means is that every game needs to have the shitty monetization features, and it also needs to have a shitty fucking ranked mode, because, that's what makes for more player engagement.
Well, suddenly, everything needs to be balanced. And the way
Yeah,
casual
that
developers
too.
do this balancing, of course, is nerfing crap. Constantly nerfing anything that might be fun or interesting into the ground.
Yeah, that's true. When it comes to card games like Hearthstone, nerfs can be necessary because you don't want your games to be just like a bunch of steamrolls. But at the same time, you also still want to have the players to have fun. So it's a balancing act, literally, in more ways than one. But for a shooter, it's just like, fucking hell, like, people have finally figured out how good a weapon is. Let them fucking use it.
Because if the game isn't balanced, then it can't have a competitive scene, right?
And fuck
You
the
see
pros.
this with pretty much every single modern shooter. You have dev teams constantly badly balancing and then rebalancing the game to a degree where it's almost comedic. One week, your main character might be S tier, and the literal next week he's Z tier because some professional nerds complain that they're broken. This also leads to balancing based on data, but that needs to be an entire video all on its own. Look at the blog post the Overwatch devs released recently to the time of this recording, where they discussed how they balanced off data, such as hero pick and win rates. You want a quick and dirty example of why balancing off win rates is a terrible fucking idea? Because there can be a lot of bias in how someone reads data. For example, if you see a hero who has an incredibly high win rate, that means they have to be busted, right? So let's nerf the shit out of them. When in reality, they're a niche character who sucks, so nobody but the people who have mastered this character will ever pick them. Thereby, high win rate, yes, because the only people who can even play the crappy character are the ones who have learned them inside and out. The balancing rabbit hole is infinite, and it only gets worse all the time. So we're not going deeper into it without a tab of acid on hand.
Dude, I haven't done psychedelics in like 2 years. I'd prefer to keep it that way.
Let's shift our
and I've
focus
had
to
a
the
good
problem
trip
of
too.
team games. Now, I'm no top player in the world at pretty much anything, but I'm also not total crap. This creates a massive problem for me. You see, skill-based matchmaking systems do in fact punish good performance.
Oh god, skill-based matchmaking. It sucks in every game. I despise it in Splatoon 3. It's the reason why I don't exactly play that game anymore. I mean, I still will when a new season drops, just so I could, see the new map, play the big run, and that's it. The game is kind of dead. I say kind of because it's not exactly dead, but it's also not exactly what Nintendo wanted it to be. It's weird.
And I experience this in about every single multiplayer game I ever dedicate time to. I'll do good for a few matches, and suddenly I'm facing a team of absolute gods, while my teammates are doing their best to keep oxygen cycling in and out of their lungs. This incredibly aggressive type of matchmaking has only become more and more prevalent of late, with more people pointing it out and noticing it. In the past, I didn't mind it, or even notice it as much, because games used to actually reward skilled play. I know, what an idea!
Whoa!
Whether mechanical skill, map knowledge, if you were good at, say, Halo or COD, or any game really, you could feasibly carry your team on your back and still eke out a win. And it felt good. You felt like a Chad. The issue nowadays is that so many games are designed around forced teamwork to such an extent that if you have
God, I hate that too. Especially when there's no, voice chat among the team. Splatoon. Good God, it gets nauseating. That's why I don't play team deathmatch and Quake Champions. I just play regular deathmatch, so I don't need to worry about the team shit.
a single person not playing their role properly, you are doomed to failure. You're a good tank, but your healers are bad? Welp, GG. You're a great healer, but your DPS is incapable of killing any of the 4 different people using you as a makeshift pinata? Welp, GG. Compare this with any single match of Halo, where you can honestly be getting more than half the kills in a match by yourself, and still managing to at least stand a chance as a result of your own effort being rewarded. You can't do that anymore in most games, because design has shifted into these hero and role-based games that encourage esports-style team makeups. Even if you're good, most of the time you'll feel like the game is actively punishing you for having the goal to have above a 50% hit accuracy. How dare you?
What? Dude, like 50% hit accuracy. Holy shit. That takes years to get, depending on the first person shooter you're playing. It's not necessarily transferable to one or the other. And if you do transfer one 50% hit rate to another, you'll need another year of time to get used to that.
Player games, you're dead to me. There you have it, a jumble of thoughts and words made manifest. This is how I felt completely out of love with a genre that I was once honestly obsessed with. I don't know if I'll ever feel the same drive I once did to play these kinds of games again. Maybe I've just outgrown them. Or maybe the plethora of issues I've spent this whole video outlining have so completely tainted the idea of multiplayer in my mind that there's nothing left for me to go back to. Whatever the case, I'll always cherish the thousands of combined hours I've spent finishing the fight in Halo, hitting sick op shots in Counter-Strike, pulling off insane feats of mobility in Titanfall 2, and the many friends and communities I became a part of along the way. The good games will always remain good, even if nothing
That's
worthy comes
true.
along to replace them. In the meanwhile, I'll be spending my time having fun in the oh so many co-op alternatives that offer far more enjoyment, far less toxicity, and way more bang for your buck. Oh yeah, you know what that means. Rock and stone. So yeah, I hope you guys have been...
Alright, so that's the end of that video. Let's get back to the normal speed here. Let's see, I'll be gonna take one more shot. I'll be back in like 2-3 minutes. So there's that. I'm gonna play some more music. I'll play a different song. Scurvy is back. Let's get to our last video of the night.
This video is something of a sequel to my anime is not your excuse video. This is a taboo subject that I'm sure everyone's initial position always starts out on the other side of the fence, myself included. You can't gatekeep hobbies, one might scream. Who are you to tell people what they can and cannot enjoy? In a vacuum, this might be okay, but reality has a habit of being different than platitudes. And frankly, everyone is okay with some level of gatekeeping. The real question is, where do you draw the line? If someone constantly cheats at card games, you're gonna want to gatekeep them away from your tournaments. Games like League of Legends have a long-running issue of people complaining that not enough people are being banned for the behavior in games. But the gatekeeping I'm talking about takes it one step further. It's not just about gatekeeping the hobbies anymore, it's also gatekeeping your shows. And I want to explain both why and how. I suppose before I get...
So, this video from Manic's sponsor, The Dragon's Treasure. So, The Dragon's Treasure makes like anime-themed tea. I haven't had it, but from reviews, it's pretty good. But basically, this video is all about anime, gatekeeping in anime, which is surprising. You wouldn't really see gatekeeping in shows compared to like tabletop games, video games. But let's see what he has to say.
Get to the why and how. I should answer who. Who are the people I think should be kept away from everything you hold even mildly entertaining? To quickly summarize the whole video I did on these people, it will be the ones diagnosed by top scientists as fucking losers. The ones who
fucking losers. I love that already.
Weigh 400 pounds, smell like they are decaying, the ones who shriek at the top of their lungs at hotel lobbies, the ones who call out of work in order to finish an anime season, then demand communism because not getting paid for not working is oppressive. These examples might be a bit too abstract and vague, so let's be a bit more specific. The types of people who see a race of dumb, violent, bloodthirsty monsters and proceed to think to themselves, yep, those.
Oh god. So, in terms of that controversy, who's the actual racist here? Wizards of the Coast or you for thinking that orcs are black people? I don't see that at all. And I think you are genuinely retarded if you think that orcs are black people.
Are blacks. They then get so angry at their own thoughts that they decide to cancel.
D&D must grapple with the racism in fantasy. Oh my god! A fantasy series has to deal with real world concepts that aren't even really a thing in universe.
Other people for those thoughts and proceed to change the entire game or media or whatever it is because of their own racism. People who are so subhuman that they are incapable of properly engaging in fantasy because the notion of—
Dude, what the fuck is this essay? This is faggy as fuck.
Being a better person is so foreign to them, they can't even imagine it. So therefore, in a game where you can literally bring people back from the dead, let alone any other ailment, you need to have specific rules for people in wheelchairs.
Wait, what? Look, isn't the whole point of a role-playing game that you could actually, like, be someone else? You don't have to be in a wheelchair? It's kind of, on one hand, it is kind of nice. It's a quality of life thing, but it's just like, wouldn't it be more fun if you could actually play as somebody who could walk? Like, even if you couldn't, like, walk for your whole life, wouldn't it be interesting to think about if you could? And what that means?
Cultural parasites who think a historical World War II game needs some cyberpunk lesbian storming the beaches of Normandy because they can't stand historical accuracy they don't feel represented. Villainous scum who will lead a multi-year campaign to ruin your career and, ideally for them, have you take your own life from the harassment based on nothing but lies because a drawing that you didn't sign that so happens to fall under the broad spectrum of no fan art happened to also be yaoi.
It goes back to this voice actor named Vic Mignogna, and if you check out this channel long enough, you're going to find a bunch of stuff about this Vic Mignogna guy, about the Vic Mignogna case.
Oh man, the Vic Mignogna case. That was something else. I'm glad that Vic has actually founded his own voice actor studio, which isn't full of a bunch of wokies. Honestly, I hope it succeeds. I really hope it succeeds, because voice acting is a very much an entirely woke profession, except for the Daily Wire, Bent Key, right? That's the Daily Wire Kids thing. So yeah, if you're not voice acting for Bent Key, you're probably woke. And if you are voicing for Bent Key's stuff, you're not woke.
He was an anime voice actor, working primarily for Funimation. The only time that this comes about is after Vic is facing these weird accusations.
And also those allegations are false.
The accusation started from this again, I keep saying weird. There's so much lore here, and I can't distill it down super fast. The accusations came from this literal weirdo Fujoshi named Han Leia. Han Leia was actually mad about Vic not signing gay yaoi fan art of his characters.
Ever think that Vic Mignogna is a Christian? And though he is one of the modern type of Christians, which I don't really respect all that much, it's like, oh, you're able to exist. I mean, if God's a little bi-curious too. When in reality, that's not exactly the case. But when someone like him is getting, under the crossfire of just this culture war shit, yeah, that's something to think about.
And in this case, one of the popular yaoi fan arts was to take brothers, right, to make it not just gay but incestuously gay. And one of Vic's characters was a member of this sort of thing, and he said, I actually don't sign that type of art. It's not canon, and that's not what I do. I'm not joking. If this sounds so stupid, if this sounds like really dumb, that this would launch a crusade of someone to destroy a career with false allegations, it's because it is dumb, but it's also true. It's also what...
If that creator is a woman, it's so easy for her to launch those false allegations in the first place. You could thank feminism for that. Once again, Scurvy does not like the 19th Amendment.
Actually happened. And so the allegations really do, and I know, guys, I know, but they really do stem from some jilted internet weirdo mad that Vic would not, who they wanted to, they were somewhat of a fan, would not sign their gay art. And I mean gay in the literal sense. Their gay incestuous fan art that they made. He wouldn't sign it, and that is the spark that really ignited this thing. So again, there's a ton to read about it.
Mouth breathers who, containing no creative bone in their weak, misshapen bodies, but still wanting to feel special, once you take already established characters.
Hear me out. All female remake. Hold on. Let me pull up the perfect fucking video for this. Give me one moment. Dreamy bowl, self-pleasure, gay.
Self-pleasure.
Hold on. Let's go to shorts.
Does not make you gay.
Self-pleasure does not make you gay. That's literally how this fucking comes off as.
Stories, fantasies, histories, plot devices, every single possible little thing, and
6.
Turn it into some weird racial feminist LGBT.
You know what I gotta say to these people who keep trying to make things into things that they're not? You need to quit! You need to quit, Marty! You need to quit turning things into things that they're not, bitch! And that's our mandatory racks out for the night.
QQAIP627 ! Diatribe. A show like Avatar hit upon nearly every possible metric of what the woke crowd should like. We have racism.
Growing up, we were taught that the Fire Nation was the greatest civilization in history. And somehow, the war was our way of sharing our greatness with the rest of the world. What an amazing lie that was.
Disabilities.
The stars sure are beautiful tonight. Too bad you can't see them, Toph.
Sexism being fought off by feminism.
Aren't you gonna fight?
Go back to the healing huts with the other women where you belong.
Gay relationships that they proceed to ruin in the preceding comics. And it was one of the greatest works of fiction we've ever gotten. And not because of or despite these elements, because those elements were carefully woven into the fabric of this universe, not shoehorned in. It wasn't used as some sort of beacon for people who can only exist off of other people's pity for being seemingly oppressed or some other nonsense. Hopefully you've got an idea of who these type of people I'm referring to are. You can refer to them as the woke crowd, but I personally extend my net to also include the woke sympathizers. The next question is, why?
Good God, the woke sympathizers. Dismissed. Honestly, they remind me of... So, if you're not familiar with Malcolm X and the whole, you know, the white liberal stuff, good God, I'm not a fan of any kind of liberal. And Scurvy isn't even quote-unquote white. But holy shit, they are some of the most self-hating people on the planet. And wouldn't you know, they are also the worst kind of people you could ever meet. Malcolm X was right about that fact. If you are of a lighter skin complexion, don't be a liberal. That's all I gotta say.
Why should we take an active role in keeping this filth away from everything we hold so dear? Because, without exception, they ruin every single thing they touch. In my video, You Are a Story, I talk about how...
I'm surprised he didn't bring up Rings of Power. When was this made? Yeah. December 29th, 2021. Yeah, that makes sense.
All of these stories, fantasies, fables, they make up the backbone, the very blueprints of our psychology, and by extension our life. Telling our kids about Santa giving presents to good kids doesn't just entertain them, it shapes their very habits and behaviors. And when you're able to put yourself...
Yeah, not gonna lie, Mario kind of shaped, you know, a lot of my character. There's a reason why I still love his games. I don't know, it just reminds me of, you know, the goodness in the world. I gotta thank Miyamoto for that.
Self in a fantasy, such as D&D or any other role-playing game, it gives you opportunities to learn something about yourself in a different setting, or maybe learn something about others in your roleplay adventures. But with the people I'm referring to, you're not allowed to have that. And here's the biggest kicker out of all of this. To anyone thinking or saying...
And in terms of the disability stuff, I mean, you know, Scurvy's on the spectrum, but I don't know what it exactly is like to be bound in a wheelchair for all your life. I simply don't understand that, but a role-playing game might allow me to understand somebody's, you know, first time, even if it's only in their mind, to walk. And I find that interesting.
They don't want to gatekeep these people. Just remember, they already gatekeep you. There is a series of comics made by...
Oh yeah, I have seen this video before. Let's actually take a look at this comic.
Can I play?
Sure.
Is this game too difficult? This game is too difficult. Can we
change it? No, we've been playing it this way for years.
Why are you excluding me?
George Alexopoulos that I'm going to put on the screen that perfectly sum up exactly how the last few decades has gone. A bunch of cancerous NPCs who have no...
You are not being inclusive. Let's play a game with simpler rules, which everyone can enjoy.
I don't wanna.
Then you don't have to join us.
A will or identity of their own wander into your neck of the woods. They proceed to be all nice and friendly as they try to burrow into your hobby or whatever it might be. But sooner or later,
the party encounters a gang of violent orcs demanding we hand over all our money.
My God, aren't you offended by this?
No.
Well, I'm offended on your behalf.
They start to complain. They then expect you, and the very hobby or platform or whatever else, to change to better accommodate them. And if you...
Orcs are people too! They're not. Their race is literally orc! Well, as a fan of this game, I'm calling for the removal of the term race. You don't know if this game existed until 5 minutes ago. If you don't like the rules, go play something else. And these people try to flip actual gatekeeping arguments against the people who've been enjoying the hobby for a long time now. And guess what? In terms of a fantasy world, race is actually a thing compared to human society, where it's not. Now, if all of a sudden we started living with orcs and elves, then the concept of race could actually be a bit, could make a bit more sense. But humans, we're all human. It really is just a skin color. Though, admittedly, there are some genetic differences, but it's not enough to completely differentiate each other. There's a reason why I don't really like to refer to things as race.
You don't drastically alter the systems in place that you and everyone else has used for who knows how many years or even decades, you are an ist or a phobe. Racist, sexist, homophobe, xenophobe. Because you don't think taking an established cast of characters and turning them all into women for no reason whatsoever is a plot device, it clearly means you hate women. Because you wonder why Hollywood keeps taking redheads and replacing them with black actors.
Oh yeah, I'm solely convinced Hollywood does not like the Irish.
It means you want to bring back slavery. If you don't want Themyscira, the island of only female Amazons, where no man is...
Wait, what? DC's first troon Amazon? Okay. First of all, the Amazonas are a bunch of female warriors. Is it a man who thinks he's a woman, or is it a woman who thinks she's a man?
Supposed to be around, and has been established this way since 1941, to suddenly have a trans man in it, which makes no sense on multiple layers, then you support the killing of all gays.
Wait, so she isn't a box to tick. So it is a troon. It's a male to female. What?
Everywhere, or some other nonsense. It's amazing how little it takes to turn you into a Nazi in the eyes of these people. They don't like you. In fact, they hate you. They hate the idea of you having fun in ways they don't approve of.
Basically, they really don't like when they're not appeased in every fucking community that they try to infest themselves into. In terms of the Lord of the Rings community, I mean, this was made before Rings of Power, and already they keep trying to infest themselves into the Lord of the Rings. I'm glad there was a significant pushback when it comes to Rings of Power.
They will take modern masterpieces and rape it into nothingness, destroying everything that was good about it, all for the sake of scoring more woke points to impress their own inner circle. Speaking of inner circles and rape, these are also the type of people who will cry all the various types of...
Oh my god. Don't even get me started on the scandals that happened in that company around the what was it, the fall of 2021? Good god. That community contract was a big reason as to why WoW is dying. Look, I love Shadowlands with all my might, but that was one of the worst features implemented in all of WoW, and I don't think it was explicitly a Shadowlands feature. I think they were going to implement this anyways, but they basically were forced to implement it early because of the backlash of the numerous things of S3 Exual Assault.
Isms and phobes that anyone not within the inner circle, then they will proceed to be the very thing they claim to hate within their inner circle.
Yes.
When they get caught, they will blame the people outside of this.
And also, look at these people. These are the people that are ruining video games.
wouldn't you know, once liberal white women and weak men started getting involved in this shit, things started to go into shit. But also, the people who are running these companies are weak men. That's just a fact. They don't know what to do around Puniti. Even if it's low quality Puniti like these two.
Circle for all of the initial crimes that have happened, and then they will.
WoW players were shocked to discover that Blizzard had begun removing old voice lines from the game. Another controversial change to the popular MMO amidst the fallout from ABK's ongoing lawsuit. Yeah, I was... On one hand, I can understand, right? Damage control. But on another, I don't like it when people remove content.
Proceed to punish everyone on the outside of the circle.
Others didn't hold back from blasting the devs over their latest decision to update WoW's content based on the lawsuit. There's no denying it anymore. The devs have completely lost their minds and grip on reality. Yes, they did. Especially in Dragonflight. A lot of the stuff in Shadowlands was already going to happen regardless of this lawsuit or not. But Dragonflight? My god. There's a reason why that expansion is woke as shit.
For those crimes. Throwing it up to an overarching problem in the community, a word I've previously expressed disdain for. To recap, the who...
No. Clearly, whoever made this meme has not watched Sailor Moon. I watched both the original and Crystal, and Sailor Uranus, no. No, 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 no. Viz, dub Cosmos soon, please.
Who are the woke NPCs? The why is because they will gatekeep you out of already established franchises, then proceed to ruin them.
Speaking of Sailor Moon, guess where that series is really popular in? Starts with an I. It's Italy. And Italy is not very tolerant of this woke crap. Alright, hold on. I will be right back. Give me one moment. Okie doke. Let's get back to it.
So the next is the how. How do we deal with this? This part is going to be the most difficult, because it'll have to involve more than just bitching into the ether. First part is started locally. Anyone who uses words like problematic, toss them to the side. Don't even be polite.
So, in terms of problematic, like, problematic actually has a definition. And that's largely not for nerd communities, but for, like, hey, you know, your AC unit, it's rather problematic in the sense that it has multiple problems to it.
Do not be accommodating, do not apologize. Make them feel like a pariah, and let them know precisely why. Because they will ruin everything, and will seek to ruin you if you don't like it. Next thing you need to do, and here's where the struggle is really gonna come in, reject any modern and future works of places that have been infiltrated by these people. Do you know about Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9? No you don't, because they never happened.
I'd like to go about this too, but considering, you know, I play Guilty Gear Strive, this is a lot harder to do because I don't want to throw my matches. I'd like to own these players, the people who play Bridget, thinking that he's an easy character to play. But really, it just depends on the medium. You could ignore stuff like Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9. You can. And you're better off for it, but for other mediums, you kind of can't ignore it.
Pretend the entire mainstream comic books industry collapsed because all issues spontaneously combusted sometime in the early 2010s, or further back even. There is a ridiculous amount of brand new stories and characters out there for us to enjoy.
That's true. That is also true. You don't just have to be a slave to mainstream shit. There's plenty of indie characters you can enjoy. I know there's the Undead Chronic comic book. Go read that, guys. I recommend it.
So we don't have to keep beating a dead horse over and over and over and over again, like we have for the past 80 years. I'm gonna say this every chance I get. Comics like Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, all the other classics are nowhere near as good as you think they are. Stop living off nostalgia, because your desperate desire for more nostalgia is what gives these people who have infiltrated these places power over.
Exactly this. And when it comes to Guilty Gear, I'm going to bring this up again. I got into Guilty Gear very recently, exactly around the time I got into Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit before then, like a month before. My interest in both Guilty Gear and Yu-Gi-Oh! Are intertwined with each other. If I'm not necessarily going to lose interest in the other because I lose interest in one. But because I still have interest in one, I'll still be able to enjoy the other.
For you, do you guys know about the upcoming Lord of the Rings TV series made by Amazon? No you don't. It doesn't exist and never will exist. The books will still exist.
Rings of power!
The movies will still exist. Do not give Amazon the time of day. But so far to focus on all this.
Most importantly, pirate this shit. If you really want to see how bad it is, you could pirate the Barbie movie. You could pirate Rings of Power. You don't need to give Amazon your money. There's plenty of sites. I'm not going to give names. I don't want this stream getting taken down. But there are sites out there. Just make sure you have an ad blocker.
Has been mainly American games and comics. Let's hit something a bit close to home for this anime-themed channel, anime. This part right here is how you know the situation has gone insane. Anime as a whole is
a character trope that needs to die. Is anime characters whose sole purpose is to be degrading / perverted towards women. Oh my god. I haven't seen any of these.
Antithesis to what a sizable part of this audience stands for. Japan is, by their definition, racist, sexist, xenophobic, and homophobic.
私も男のような女のような。どっちでもいいよ。なんだよお前は。いいのよ。ロンって呼んでね。あ、ビューティフルクイーンでもいいわ。あら不思議。なんならこの指の器用さ試してみる。気持ちいいかもよ。
Mama.
But they will
hatred. Zero! Demo! I will cut you!
Will pretend otherwise until they get the proper opportunity to virtue signal, then they will have hated it all along. I won't rehash how the effective monopoly on dubs here in the States actively butchers series to this day, but
oh god, that's the thing. When it comes to dubs, I have not forgotten about the Gamergate. I have not forgotten about that.
There is a reason I actively and loudly promote for American audiences piracy, and for Japanese distributors to just give us a direct line to them so we can pay them instead. These motherfuckers will take media from an entirely different culture.
You ever just sell so hard you just what?
And demand that they change it to better suit their needs. And you know what? Slowly but surely, they are making ground. They now even have a seat in Japan to spread this poison. But since this is an uncommon subject, still held to be taboo by many.
Yeah, just pirate the English dubs. If you're a dub watcher like me, just pirate it.
Actively speaking about it will be incredibly helpful. Tell people about the idea. Make your own videos with even more examples I didn't touch upon. Add your own take, share this video, and of course, actually follow through.
Alrighty, so that was the video. It's a pretty good video, if I say so myself. But honestly, I think this will continue greatly into the regular cancellation. And this one is going to be a rather short one. Who is going to be canceled? Why? It's the normies who allow this shit to proliferate. God, I really don't like normal fags. And do you want to know why I don't like normal fags? It's because they ruin everything. Even the more popular shit like Mario or Sonic, they ruin that too. Why? Because they're the type of people who say, "Oh, Mario Wonder should have an easy mode. I'm so much of a fan of Nintendo or Sega. I know what's best for the series." When in reality, they don't know what make these games good. They don't know what makes these anime series good. They don't know how anything is good. All they know how to do is follow trends and say a bunch of left-wing diatribe. That's all they know how to fucking do. That's another reason why I hate normies. But also, normies are very good at ruining shit. They ruined the game industry because there's so many of them who don't mind the season pass bullshit. They let it proliferate. Every game has to have a season pass, and for someone like me, it's refreshing to see if a game doesn't have a season pass. I'm very much shocked at that fact, but normies won't stop buying it. Normies are what makes these companies money, not outsiders like myself. Oh man, something else too. It's just like these normies, they gather up in such a mass that it's hard for gatekeepers like myself to keep them out of communities. In my upcoming video about Guilty Gear Strive, like, you'll see what I mean by that. All they know how to do is infiltrate and spread a bunch of left-wing bullshit diatribes. Oh, what else do I have to say about normies that I haven't said on this channel before? All right. The fact that they think everything is problematic? No, it's not. No, it fucking isn't. Now, do I have a problem with overly sexualized characters? Yes, I do. Why? It's more so because it's not exactly necessary. But do you want to know what normies gotta think about it? Oh, it's misogynistic, it's sexist, it only just has objectified women. When in reality, it's more of just like, it's not really needed, but, you know, some fan service doesn't hurt every now and then. I'm perfectly fine with admitting that. There is a line, but that line is largely cultural. And with that being said, I'm not trying to justify anything degenerate. Like, if it's something degenerate like lolicon, I'm willing to call that shit out as it should be, because it's degenerate. But when it comes to, you know, a little bit too much of booba, all you just have to do is, like, walk away. You don't need to engage in it. Most normies do not have that skill to walk away. They have to say their little opinion on everything. And I mean everything. Now look, I know that on this show, I talk about a lot of things. But there's a reason why I do. It's because I think I could actually add something to the conversation. Maybe it's something somebody hasn't really thought of before. Or it might just be adding more fuel to my side of the fire. Whether it's one of those two, I'm more than welcome to add my opinion to it. But the opinion of a normie just does not matter. It really just doesn't. At least on its own. When it's gathered in a mass, holy shit-a-moly. Yeah, that's not exactly fun to deal with. I see my friend El Sheffo / the Micropenis Maniac deal with these people on Twitter all the fucking time. I could tell it's not fun. But ultimately, normies are canceled for the fact that they've gotten really good at basically infiltrating through numbers. And like what Mr. Pliskin says, excommunicate infiltrators. Basically this. You have to get better at spotting these people out. They're not that hard to spot, actually. But because a lot of people are kind of in the fandoms and all that, they might not know. They might not know how to spot infiltrators. But ultimately, normies are tonight canceled. And with that, that will be the end of the show for tonight. Let's get back to the Scurvy slide. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I'll see y'all probably next week. I know things are going to get a little bit hectic in these this next month or two, because I'm going to be moving out soon. So if shows aren't going to be happening as frequently, that's probably why. But this is one I've been wanting to do for at least over 2-3 weeks now. So yeah, thanks for